Gold continues to be that safe haven asset to hedge against inflation. Silver looks like it wants to join the party too, but in order for it to join the party, it's going to have to show that it can break a previous all-time high and then just boost through and do what gold does as well. Tesla looks like it possibly might recover and see higher prices. If not, then we're going to get a little bit more of a discount on Tesla and maybe get some prices around about the $100 mark. And if it does, I'm definitely going to be buying some of that. Otherwise, I'm just going to be buying a little bit of Tesla every couple of days at this one price, because we all know it's going to go up anyway. The Apples this season looks like they're going to be a little bit cheaper. I don't know about the iPhones, but definitely the Apple stock is going to be at reduced discount price over the coming weeks or months possibly. Meta just seems to be like it wants to pump. When are we going to get the run, and then when are we going to get the dump? Intel hasn't had a great time, especially with Nvidia this year, pumping out their fantastic AI chips. So it looks like we might be getting a little bit of a discount price on Intel soon as well. I've drawn on the 3 zones where I'll be looking at possibly buying some stocks. But first of all, if it breaks the $37 boundary, then we're definitely going to get a reduced discount at say $32, I would expect. Microsoft pushing like mad as well, and Nvidia pushing like mad too. But the all-time great oil is looking like it's ready to pump to really inflate inflation and push those interest rates even higher, so we can slow down some of these other markets. Bitcoin is still staying strong, and it is still arguing the fact that it deserves a place at that one table. And give it a little bit of time, the likelihood is it, just like Tesla and Meta and the other companies, it will receive its place at the table, but it's got to keep up with the big boys. And at the moment, it is keeping up with the big boys, especially with Wall Street behind it now. Now, the sentiment of the market at the moment of cryptocurrency with regards to the fear and greed index is on extreme greed once again, but we're moving up higher numbers once again, hitting 80. And then when we come over to the CNN fear and greed index, you can see that we're moving up a little bit higher once again, back to 66. So it looks like the stock market or the traders, they've got a little bit more greed once again, because it did touch neutral at one point. The Bitcoin halving now in 10 days time, so we're now looking at a possible 19th of April rather than the 20th of April. Hello and welcome to this video. My name is David Thorne. It is the 9th of April 2024. It's currently 7:53 in the morning, Central European time. If you are new to my channel, I make lots of different types of videos, from Bitcoin videos, from drone flying, from Python, from programming, from electronics, from living in Germany. Also a little bit of the old mathematics helps as well, and some Linux and other stuff. So if you are interested in learning a whole bunch of different topics, then come over to see my channel, and definitely obviously subscribe so you don't miss out on any future Bitcoin videos. Now, like I said, if you do suddenly see another video popping up that doesn't interest you, don't worry about it, just scroll by it, I won't be offended. But when you do see my Bitcoin videos, they will always start with BTC or Bitcoin at the beginning, so you know what the topic is about. If you do like my content and you want to watch further Bitcoin price analysis videos, I do have a complete playlist here, and as you can see here, they're all annotated with how much they've gained or lost on each one day, so you can see what type of sentiment that the video had. Now I go from all the way talking from the weekly price time frame all the way down to the 1 minute, and I talk about basically what my thoughts are on the Bitcoin price. What's really important for you to understand here is I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional trader. I am literally just a guy sat in front of my monitor talking to a microphone, talking about red and green candles regarding my own portfolio, the money that my wife and I have invested into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies and other stocks and shares with regards to a long-term time frame. We are talking about 20 years time. So any investments that we do make, we're always talking about long term. Now, do we talk about taking profits? Absolutely. But we make sure that the time has passed long enough that we know that we can take that money out as profits without any tax problems whatsoever. So we are definitely not doing day trading or weekly trading. It's more about 1, 2, 3 years before we'll even think about taking any money out in profits. If you are new to Bitcoin and you've just suddenly heard that Bitcoin is going to the moon, Bitcoin's going to 100,000, Bitcoin's going to 200,000 or whatever, or Bitcoin's going to dump like mad, then this is the video for you, right? Because I'm going to talk you through what my thoughts are based upon the Bitcoin price right now, and whether it is good or bad to buy. Now, if you don't want to listen all the way through to the end and you just want the short answer and you want to know whether you should buy Bitcoin right now, the answer is no. It is an absolute no. From whichever direction you want to take this no, if you have any additional questions and so on, what you can have as the answer for it is no. All right. So unless you start hearing the Bitcoin price starts with, say, like 40 something and not more than 45,000, then my answer will change to maybe. Okay, but other than that, no, it isn't a time to buy Bitcoin. Now, if you are going to buy Bitcoin now and you are not going to look at the price of Bitcoin for a minimum of 5 years, then fill your boots, get your money in there, because it will go up over that amount of time. But don't come moaning when the price drops down by 30-40% over the coming 6 months, because it's going to happen at one point. So if you are going to put your money into Bitcoin, put it in and leave it there and don't look at it. And if you don't have the nerves to look at it, don't do it, right? So this is my short-term advice for you. Now, before we move on to the actual Bitcoin price, please remember I do this for free, all right? This is my channel and I do it for me, but I also do it for you so you can at least understand what my thoughts are about the Bitcoin price and when I'm going to think about selling some Bitcoin for profit taking, and I'm also where my points are I want to buy them. So just remember I do this for free and I spend my own time editing the videos and researching this stuff for you. So just do me a favor right now. Just right now, I'll even wait for you, right? Go on, just go and tap that like button right now. That's it. And if you want to spend some time just saying thank you in the comment section down below, take the time right now to do it. I'm going to wait for you. It's no problem, right? Have you done it? Good. Right. With that said, like I said, my name is David Dawn. We can close all this down now. And we can start moving on with what you actually came here for, to look at the Bitcoin price. As normal, let's jump straight into the weekly chart and let's have a look at what we've got. Well, last week, as we know, we had this reddish, maroonish color a candle, and then we've got this very, very weak, which is low volume green candle. It's no big deal that it's light green color at the moment because it still needs a little bit of maturing. We're only on Tuesday, so we expect it might get in deeper, darker colors come by the end of the week. But we can't really say much from this right now. It's not telling us anything. So let's just move straight on to the daily time frame. Now, what's really important to understand, and this is what goes through my head, okay, when we look at this, is that there is this support, this resistance line, all right? And we know here that the price come and tested this one level first of all, and we know that it got rejected because it come back down here, right? Blue candle shows more than average. A blue candle shows more than average volume, okay? And the price went all the way down and got sucked all the way back up. So what we do know now is that we have a strong support here, because the wick told us that it moved the price all the way down, but there was so much buying that it pushed the price back up again. All right, so it did have a negative, but then it managed to make that negative back up, so much so that it pushed it forward. So we know there is some kind of support here. Now, on the flip side to that, we know that the price opened here and then. So on the flip side to that, we know that the price opened here and it closed here. Now, we know that the price went all the way down, all right? We're not concerned about that because we can see that by this picture. But at the top, this is where the price went up, and then the sellers managed to force the price all the way back down and then even further. So we know that there's a resistance zone here because we know from the past breadcrumbs here that there is a resistance zone here. And what can we see? We can see that the price yesterday came up and pushed through into this one zone, but the sellers managed to push the price all the way back down again to this one zone. So we can see, and this is, we're not doing any magic here, we're just reading what's happened in the past. We can see now that the price managed to come up to this area here. This let's call it 66,000, just for rounding it down. All right, but all of these wicks here, they saw lots of selling pressure, selling pressure, selling pressure, selling pressure, and so on. But this green candle was low volume, be able to push up. Why was this? Because the selling had run out. And this light colored green candle is painting the biggest picture, because it said that all of this large selling here, this maroon candle shows there's more volume, more transactions, more Bitcoins being passed backwards and forwards. And the grey is showing a little bit more than the normal green one here. So there was more than average, but there was lots of selling. But the selling reduced on this one, and the selling, the buying power reduced, but the selling went down, and then the buying power came underneath here. So, but then we see the just sudden price jump here with zero volume. Let's just call it next to no volume, and it went up. That meant that the sellers weren't there. So the sellers were just up here waiting. And then obviously we can see that there was a lot of selling power. So we saw there was a strong sentiment here of that the price was overbought and it should be cheaper. And now we can paint the same picture on this bottom bit to say, okay, well, the price went down rapidly, okay, but there was a strong sentiment in buying down here. So the buyers managed to push the price back up again to where the candles closed, and that was a complete rejection. So this was a rejection zone here that pushed the price super quick back up. Okay, it took more time to put it back up again than it did to come down, but that's normal. But as we can see here, we had this travel going up, and the light green candle shows that it can move through prices really quickly with not a lot of volume. That says that the sellers are higher above all the time, that the price has got to move quickly through the prices because there's a lack of people selling or buying. Well, in this scenario, lack of people selling, so the price moves up. And now we can see this selling pressure up the top once again. And these are the patterns. These are the patterns that we want to look for, because it tells us exactly where the sellers were last time, exactly where. We don't have to draw any pirate flags or anything like that for it. We can just see basic economics 101. We can see where the support zones were and where the resistance zones were. Now, we want to know where are the people wanting to buy it and where are the people wanting to sell it, because you can have as many algorithms as possible, but if no one is buying, right, then someone can't sell, right? And if no one is selling, someone can't buy. So you need both those people. However, if you have a market maker in between that is always buying and always selling, so if you want to buy something and the market maker is there, they will always sell it to you regardless. That's what their role is in this, and they will always do the opposite for this. So, but you have to understand is, when does the market maker have too much of a loss, and when do they need to turn the market around? And if market makers are working in millions, hundreds of millions, and when they need to move the market to bring their account back to zero again, right? Because there can be that they've been taking your trade all the time. The market's been going up. They've been selling. So they're at a loss now, and this green candle. So come up here, they're at a negative. So they need at one point to bring the market back down to this one point so they can then get themselves out of that negative and bring them back to zero again. And then they use that money to buy it back up to make their profits once again. So you have to remember that market makers are there, one, to make the market, and two, to make money. So we have to spot these patterns of when they are getting in and out. Now, if the banks, the institutions, the hedge fund managers, whoever it is, like BlackRock and so on, who are buying all of the ETF money, we have to look for when they are going to be buying it, because they can't just make the trade instantly and like, oh, buy 1,000 Bitcoin right now, because that will just explode the market. They've got to get in very, very slowly all the time. Do you understand? So they've got to find these areas where there's lots of liquidity, and lots of liquidity means that there are small people all selling. And in this place, if let's call it BlackRock, okay, just for the sake of it. If BlackRock has lots of Bitcoin that it wants to sell here, if it sells it too fast, it will spike the market down super quick, like this red candle here, and it will just come back up again. And no one wins out of this, because the market moves so fast that it scares people. So they've got to be able to sell their Bitcoin at a profit nice and slowly. Well, if they're selling something, someone's got to be buying it, right? And when they are buying it, someone's got to be selling it. So they are keeping the market there. They're selling, 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 while someone just buys slowly all the time. And when they're happy that they've sold as much as they want to sell and they want the market to move, they just make a big transaction and then they keep moving the market down. So everyone jumps on that one trade too. So you have to understand is, when are the big players getting out and when are they taking profits and when are they getting back in again, and who is on the other side of that trade. So right now we're still on the daily market, but we know that we're seeing pretty much a range here, and the question is when are we going to push through this upper limit of 67,500, and what do we need to have in order to be able to do it? And are we going to see lower prices? So are we going to see the price of Bitcoin come back down and test this 56,000, right? Or are we going to see it come and test this 60,000 and then push higher? Well, in order for it to push through this upper boundary, it's going to have some power, or it's needing zero power, right? And no one selling in this one zone. So if all the sellers start moving their limit orders to, let's just call it 69,000, right? It's not on 69,000, let's just call it 69,000. If all the sellers are here and someone wants to buy Bitcoin big here and no one is selling, this price is going to jump through super quick, and then they're selling here. Now, if all of the people that are waiting for the price to go to the moon are saying, I'm only going to buy when it exceeds the price of 67,000, let's call it, then they're going to be placing their buy orders above this order here, because they're going to want to see it retest this as a support. And so we can assume that this resistance zone here is going to be a support zone in the future to see prices going up to 80,000 or whatever it might be. But it's only going to happen if the price can push through here. It can push through here and come and turn this resistance zone into a support to come back up again. And then this line here needs to be a support zone to come back up again. And this bit here needs to be a support zone again, and then to come back here, this resistance, this previous resistance, which was price discovery, needs to be a support zone once again. Whoops, a support zone once again. So this is the whole point that we need to see. We need to see price come up and then come and retest the previous resistance to turn it into a support, and that happens in the opposite zone as well. When we have a support and it breaks it, then we want to see the price come back up and make this support zone now into a resistance zone. And we see another support zone here, and it comes here, and then it breaks down and it backs up and tests it. This is what you're expecting to see all the time. And once you see this, let's just call it pattern, right? It's not a pattern, it's just literally human people. It's human psychology, right? Of knowing that people tend to buy at a certain point and sell at a certain point, and they have different ways of thinking at different points. When you start to see this happening, then you can take it from the daily level and go down to the four hourly level, and you'll start seeing a clearer picture, right? And as you can see here, we had a green candle. This is a lot of volume green candle. When was that? Last night, that pushed it up, and it hit exactly this support level. We've just seen it a second ago because we just drew the box there. So, but then we saw this purple, which showed a strong amount of selling too to go down. But we can see the wick of that one candle was quite big too. So there was a lot of buying power there also. Then the maroon candle here had equal amount of buying and selling, but there was not as much as the purple, but it was more than the normal level. But now we can see there's no one buying because it's low volume. So right now we can see the price just moving nicely. Now we would assume that the price would come and settle right on this support zone here, because we can see this is where there was huge volume going down before. So we knew there was lots of sellers here because of the color of the candle, and it had a correction there. So we would assume that the price would come down to 64, let's call it 65,000, to either come and try higher prices, or if it's weak, it will just break straight through and probably come down to this area here. But we've got light colored candles here, so there's not really a lot of support there. The support really comes in around about the 63,000. So we could expect today prices to come and play this one zone again, right? There's nothing stopping it from coming down, like I said, to 64,600, and then coming down even further. So I would be very vigilant to it. Now that we are looking at smaller time frames, we start seeing the micro movements a lot clearer. Now, on a 1 hour level, they're not so micro, but they're a lot more micro with regards to a daily chart. We see the 5 and the 8 are beneath the 15. So we see downward movements. All the candles are beneath the 5 exponential moving average. So we see it's got lower than normal prices, but we don't see lots of movement, but we see gradual movement. And this shows a nice trend going down. So the people are having the same sentiment. Yes, it needs to go down very, very slowly, right? This is healthy. When it starts spiking down, you know there's going to be a fast movement in the opposite direction. But when it just slowly moves down, that's people slowly selling it, moving the price down. So we can see that we've got the 50 here, so we would expect the price to come and meet the 50, and the likelihood is there's going to be a movement of the 50 up to the price and the price down to the 50. So they're both working on meeting together, and this could be the turning point for it. And if it's not, then we would expect to see price come below, come back up, retest the 50 as a resistance zone now to come and test the 200. And we look like, you know, as we discussed already, this area looks like the next support zone here. So let's move into the 30-minute time frame, and we can see we've still got big green candles here. So there was a quick movement in the prices. So there was not much liquidity here because the price moved so fast. So we would expect normally that the price can go through, but if the people that bought up here are selling it nice and slowly, so it comes down here to buy it up again to meet the 200s, because we're beneath the 50 already, to meet the 200, to push prices back up to test this, what is now a resistance zone, and to see whether this resistance zone can be broken. And if it is weak, if there's no sellers in this or at this one zone, then as we discussed, we should expect sellers to be somewhere up here. This line is still arbitrary, but somewhere up here. So this is the way that you've got to think, is I would expect the price to come down to easily 64,650. But you know, the more the price here tests, and we'll see this in a minute when we move down even further, we'll see that the picture become even clearer. How this at the moment keeps testing this price here, 65,316. Now, when the buyers run out here because it's selling, the price can only move down, and I would assume it's going to move down quite fast as well with a light colored candle. And then if everyone jumps on the train, then it will get to be a maroon colored candle, a red candle, and so on, a purple, then a red. So we can see here it's testing this lower boundary. Now, if the buyers run out, then the selling price will have to go up, because there's no one buying here. It would mean the price would go up quite quickly. So we need to look which direction is this going to go. It could go in both directions. If the buyers run out, then the price will go up. If the sellers run out, then the price will go down. So, but we should expect to see some movement very shortly in one of two of these directions. But if we look even closer to it, we might be able to get a tip of what direction it's going to go. So we can see that the price at the moment, the candles are, there's red and blue here on this one turnaround point. There's maroon and like grayish. So there wasn't huge volume here, but we've seen blue and maroon here. So there was a little bit more volume here, but then we've seen red. This is the giveaway, right? We know which direction it's going now. We saw a light green and then a big red. So there was lots of selling, but we know there was lots of buying here. So the question is, on the next time when there's a little bit more selling, if there's no buyers holding this one price, then we should expect to see the price just zoom through this level. Now, if there are lots of buyers still and the buyers stay there, but the selling run out, then we know that the price is probably going to come up to here quite quickly. So we won't know this until it happens, right? So but it is a 50-50 thing, which one is going to run out first. Let's move into the 1 minute time scale now, and we're on 8.16, and we can see that the Germany market or the European market isn't going to do anything. We can now wait to see whether or not the London market's going to do something. But right now it kind of could go in both directions, but it's all based upon which one is going to run out first. But we see it's oversold here. So I'm going to leave it at that, and we'll see which way it goes, probably whilst I'm editing the video. With that said, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting my videos. If we do see some form of breakout today, I did take profits yesterday. I took some good profits actually, and I will be taking more profits today anyway, because the price is high and I need to pay myself basically, and I need to make sure that I've got some money. Yeah, that's it. I have to pay myself from doing all of this work. So we'll probably wait until about 9 o'clock to see what happens. And if it starts turning around a little bit here, I'll probably start selling it in very small chunks, lots of small chunks. And every time it moves, I'll pause and then I'll wait for it to consolidate once again. But otherwise, I'll be happy with selling it in around this zone anyway, because it's at profit, regardless of the fact. If it zooms up really quickly, then like I said, I'll wait to see it consolidate once again. But I don't expect it right now to break through this before the American market opens. I could be wrong, but so you have to remember is that my philosophy behind this is that, you know, this is where the bottom was, and we don't know if this is the top right now, so we have to go with the trend. But what I am going to do is make sure that I've taken some of the profits out, which I had bought Bitcoin around this zone, but I bought around this zone as well. So you know, taking some profits out. I would have liked to have bought Bitcoin here, but c'est la vie, you can't predict everything. Very quickly, I didn't buy Bitcoin here. This was the price that I bought Bitcoin when it was actually at that price previously. So this is just to symbolize which price I actually bought Bitcoin at, but I didn't buy it. I haven't bought any Bitcoin since 2021, so just to clear that up. But what I can predict though is that the price of Bitcoin is at a point where I can take profits, and I will take profits. So that's the whole point. With that said, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in possibly this afternoon's. Actually, I won't see you in this afternoon's video. There won't be one because I've got stuff to do. So I will see you in tomorrow's video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment down below, do all of the stuff that you normally do. So bye bye then. Ciao ciao. As you can see now, the price has quickly broken through that one line with one sharp candle going down. There was some buying power below it, but then some more selling power. So we'll be interested to see what the London market says about this. Okay, ciao ciao, bye bye.